Another entrance. Cleoc scouted from above and he found one. And on below, we found the tracks of some orcs. And I argued that it'd be better to go back from where the orcs came, close to what we theorized would be maybe another entrance. We went there and it was a couple giants' home, maybe. One of them we killed, and the other one ran away down the mountain. And so we stopped before we investigated the giant's home.
Correct. And so, upon investigating the felled individual, it does not remind you of any giant you've ever heard of.
Huh. What does it look like?
Like the picture I sent.
Two-headed thing.
Okay. Well, does it have any valuables, or can we look at its home?
Yes, I'm trying to get the thing pulled up again on that. Give me just a second. I'm trying to find where that is, because I had it here. There it is.
Dorn's going to hit level 6 at some point.
Dorn, you're out leveling everyone.
I noticed. Cleoc, you're behind everyone. No! You see, this is a win-win situation for Mark the player, because both of his characters are now getting experience. Well, I say that. If we take a long rest, that might not be the case anymore. But
Sorry, I forgot to get it preloaded to the correct page with those guys. Here we go. All right. So on the giant you find 2 days of rations consisting of some weird meat and some strange roots or tubers. Foods you probably don't want to eat.
Fair enough.
Yeah, as you see the picture I sent you guys last week when you engaged them, they don't look like any giants you've ever seen. They seem like they have kind of a tumorish kind of head almost growing out of them. They're very, almost like they have like stone scales on part of their body and more bestial-like claws, where giants tend to have more humanoid claws, like human-like hands, I should say, not claws.
Stone scales?
Mm-hmm. Look in the picture, like the shoulders and stuff. They seem like they almost have some stony kind of protrusions as part of their skin.
Huh. Okay.
And they healed. So that's was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he found his friends. They fired arrows at me. Here's a souvenir. By the way, I'm fine.
Oh, where did they shoot arrows at you from?
Further on down the mountain. I assume it's going to take time for them to get up here since they would have to climb, but we don't have that long.
Hmm.
Probably a good, I flew a few turns after him at max speed, but probably about 400 or 500 feet down the mountain at most.
Okay. Um. Well, let's go look at the giant's hut.
Okay. In the hut, you find additional roots and rotting meat. You find the carcass of a boar-like creature that's like hairy and has additional like protrusions of tusks on its face. And it smells foul, but the meat's kind of been rotten.
Okay. And do we see any sort of a hole in the mountain?
Nope.
Dang it. Dang it, dang it. This is what I came here for. Not giants, for a hole in the mountain. The thing is, I'm Doran now, and I have no idea that he would say that. Sorry.
He'd probably be more sad that they didn't pay in advance. Assuming
Oh, yes.
assuming that Saradin actually did, translate the conversation for the rest of the group by this point.
Yeah, I did.
Or if they paid in advance, they paid in advance with rotten meat, and it's just like,
Well, guys, the long story short, the orcs paid them to look for us and eat us, and that's what they tried to do.
Okay, well, this didn't work.
and if we don't get out of here relatively soon, they're going to be back up here very soon.
I actually can't remember if they said that. I need to take better notes.
Yeah, you know. That never hurts. So, what do you think?
I'd say we call the ship and we fly out before they get back. Because I don't want to fight a giant and at least 6 orc archers.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
at
for
least.
that.
Yeah, I'm for that as well.
It is starting to get towards night, just to make sure you're all aware.
Yeah, I say let's skedaddle.
You fought them around lunchtime, and so now it's getting towards dinner, closer towards dark. Dusk.
Yeah, I think we should do a full rest then.
Okay. And so you guys call the ship? Get on the ship?
Yep.
Where and how do you plan to do your full rest?
Take the ship, like, into the sky.
Like you're just going straight up, you're flying off away somewhere, what sort of thing?
Let's fly off a little ways away.
Fly off back towards the city.
A little ways, meaning...
I don't want to... I want to be able to find this place again without trouble.
Yeah.
So you're going to stay with it inside of it, or take a straight direction out and a straight direction back? What? Because I need to kind of know what your plan is.
Okay. We'll take the city is approximately west of here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll take out straight west about, half a day's journey by. We'll basically go straight west close to the city and maybe gain some altitude if we want to be high enough we're not bothered by anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as the ship stays powered, which means you have a caster that has been decommissioned essentially, it can stay up. That does mean that you're going to have to cycle out people who are on it, or risk them being exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem, should it?
I don't know. You don't have a spellcaster, do you?
Well, we've got
It
Ryu.
depends on whether we want to spend the one person who's not here and make sure that they're on shift to basically fly the ship.
That's an option. I'm just making sure people basically know ahead of time so you can make a selection, because
Fair
that's
enough.
something your characters would be very aware of.
I think Ryu's characters can keep the ship flying.
Okay.
All right, both of you characters can do that.
Yeah. Sorry, gentlemen, I need 5 minutes. Be right back.
5? What about 5 seconds?
I'm assuming that you mentioned it's almost dark. That we probably won't attack again till morning, right?
It's getting towards dinner, so yes, it's not dark yet, but it's
It's
the sun's
highly
going
likely
down.
we're not going to try a night assault against people who can see in the dark.
I will get my javelin back, finally. That needs a dawn to recharge its power.
Yep. So ultimately, we need to have a meeting to how we decide to continue with this mission, if we decide to continue with this mission.
So, on that, what do you want to do?
I don't know if we want to wait for Cookie to have this conversation or not.
Well, you can at least start brainstorming until you do, a final decision. Absolutely wait for Cookie, but starting
So
theorizing and brainstorming doesn't hurt now.
here are kind of my thoughts, and I discussed this a little bit with Cookie, over chat at work because it was kind of a slow day.
Just a second, Cleo. Certain, we are getting some backsplash from your mic, just so you're aware.
Oh. Is that better?
We'll find out when Cleoc starts talking again.
So, where was I? Yes.
You had to talk with Cookie at work.
So, a couple of thoughts came up. Cookie already mentioned at the beginning of the session that he's thinking that, maybe just a good idea to quote unquote cut our losses and just abandon this quest. A thought we had, if we want to try and continue it, is to pull off some sort of feint with the ship while a quote-unquote elite group of us tries to go in the back door through the hole. I know we discussed a little bit of that at the beginning of the session, or maybe before the recording started, but, we don't even necessarily have to attack the front door of the ship. We only have to maybe park the ship at least reasonably close to that front door to make them kind of out in plain sight, out in front of the fortification, and make them basically post a guard there. And given the size of our ship, hopefully a pretty sizable one. Meanwhile, our sneaky group, our assault team, comes in through the top. And hopefully it's an actual backdoor entrance into said cavern.
Just to make sure you guys are aware, you have heard from people who have fought orcs that some of them can have fairly large strongholds, and they tend to do so underground for their primary stronghold.
Great. Anyway, we've got a couple of problems with our plan. Or at least I foresee a couple of things wrong. One, considering the amount of time we've been assaulting this fortification, they could have just straight up killed the prisoner. Second thing they could have done is they could have moved the prisoner, especially since we've decided to not keep a watch. Third, this could be a really large stronghold, and we peek in from the top and see that this is too big for our britches to take on, and we abandon the quest. If this were a small encampment, we've killed a fair number of orcs and other creatures, and yet they still keep coming.
This is true.
So it could be our best bet is, hey, we tried, but we just didn't quite. We don't have the manpower to take it. I would consider that a valid determination of just based on what we've seen.
Okay, so
Did you hear all that?
most of it, yeah.
This is kind of out of character / metagaming, and almost just as much for Nate to think about as well as a consideration. Is I don't know if it would get out that one, we accepted this quest, and secondly, we abandoned it. Considering that the Seekers is now its own organization, own adventuring crew, stuff we take on and complete or fail, should word get out that we failed or completed things, could affect our reputation as a adventuring company and or trying to get further lines of business. And so I don't know if that's something we want to worry about or consider at this point. Or if, given the way the bill system has worked, we've seen that we can take on bills, but it seems like lots of people can potentially take on bills at once, and it's just whoever completes it first type thing. But I don't know that. I don't know the full situation there.
Well, we haven't seen another group try to complete it.
At the very least, it may hurt our reputation, but Cleoc doesn't want. Cleoc, if we decide to abandon this quest, we want to inform the broker that we abandoned it because for whatever reason we come up with.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So this is something that we haven't had to think about for a few months, right? But this is pretty close to our maiden voyage flying around the galaxy, so to speak. I know that we went one way and went another, and I'm going to have to pull up my notes to find out exactly where we are.
And I believe at least one of you was going to start mapping it as part of your role as the navigator.
Yes. We're going to map it. We haven't gone very far.
One final thing to consider is I don't know how a failure like this or going out to the middle of nowhere and come up empty-handed would affect crew morale.
Well, crew
Probably according to the
doesn't
rules,
mind
it'd be
that
4.
much.
They may not care as long as we pay them, but they may be a little confused.
Yeah, it's a good point. How much is this going to fall on money not completing this mission? I mean, we just flew the crew out here and all that for not making anything.
Cookie, you are still keeping track of the time cost for the crew while on planet, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can we afford to abandon it?
Where is it? Yes, we can afford to abandon it. It's a matter of are we going to die or not. We can always afford to abandon. It's really. I thought that we could just assault it, but it sounds like we can't do that. You know.
Keep in mind it was mentioned as an orc stronghold, not an orc camp.
Yeah, well, we're going to need to learn to communicate better about stuff like this. Because orc stronghold doesn't mean anything to me. Which, I mean, it's not specifically your problem, but we don't. Okay, so we hear this thing it's a lich is guarding it. We're like, okay, that's a lich. No. Right? Because we know lich. Oh, this thing's guarded by, an archfiend. No, thank you. It's just orcs. We can do orcs. Oh, there's a million of them? Oh, okay.
Well, he didn't
I
know
don't
it
know
was
what
a stronghold,
means.
but when you got closer, you realized it was more of that sort of a thing.
I don't know. All we saw was a palisade and a hole in the wall.
Yeah, I had no idea it was a stronghold, considering it may have been odd for an orc camp to have had a wall, but
we've gone against a forted fortress of a wall before, of an orc encampment before, and there was only like 20 or 30 orcs there total.
Granted, we haven't seen 20 or 30 orcs yet. We've killed about 15.
True.
And they were desperate enough to go try and bribe some giants. So maybe we've taken out more than or a higher percentage than we think. But
there's more of them. There were plenty of them down there to shoot arrows at Cleoc.
I don't know how many. I just know 6 came my direction. I returned with 1 arrow. Ultimately, I don't know if they attacked twice, if 3 of them attacked twice, or whether there were 6 of them, or if there's more than 6 and just not all of them could reach me.
Right. And I went ahead and posted a Wizards of the Coast example of an orc stronghold.
You're basically calling it a tournament setting.
What?
You're calling it a tournament setting. It's very similar to a module that, it would be a module.
Probably close.
That's what we've been doing. We've been doing it, Module. Only we don't feel like we're making any progress.
Now you understand why it's not been just a little dainty camp.
Okay.
We went in with incomplete information. Yeah!
I'm beginning, yeah.
A
So
stronghold
Dawn
is a
is
stronghold,
changing
a camp
its
is a camp.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dawn no longer thinks we can do it, you know? I mean, he hates the idea of leaving the poison hill, but he doesn't see how any rescue would work.
We have not identified the location of the target. Now, whether somehow that backdoor entrance, there'd be some way we could swoop in and swoop out stealthily, sure. But we've been assaulting the camp. They're on high alert. We're not getting in and out stealthily.
Okay.
Even if they have no idea, they probably have no idea what our goal is here. Still.
And we can't talk to them.
We've just been attacking them. So it's not like they're guarding the prisoner like extra closely. Or there's a chance they're not guarding whatever prisoner they have extra closely. They could be guarding their treasure, they could be guarding who knows what else. But the thing about it is that they're going to be on high alert for a long time, so trying to send the sneaky people is probably going to end in failure.
Okay. So our infiltration skills are very weak because no one can turn invisible. Right? Because we don't have that kind of magic among us.
Well.
Our brute force skills are somewhat weak because we don't do well in an open area. We don't have enough to do that. We can't handle crowd controls because we don't have any area of effect magic. We're not really balanced for this encounter.
Oh, yeah, it's time to throw in the towel.
So I'm looking at my notes here. I wrote this down 2.5 months ago. We are in Garaganov. Well, so I have been keeping track of our days and times.
Okay.
We've only really been docked about 2 days so far.
You've been out on this mission more like 4 or 5 days. Because you landed, you had a day in town that you kind of spent. It was a day's travel out. Then you took a day traveling up. You took a long rest on the ship. Sent a group back out.
I don't think we took a long rest because otherwise group would be raging and all that stuff.
Okay.
We did take a long rest because we assaulted the cave and that's when group got. Okay, never mind. I'm getting confused.
If we're talking about a long rest, 2 walls, that's going to pretty much put everyone back to full strength, isn't it?
Yep.
It does, yeah.
Do we just need to take both parties? Just send them all?
I considered that, but that's not
how you lose a ship.
We don't want to go there, really. Right now, it's probably not smart.
I mean, you're welcome to. I mean, we can play a new party. You know, you could have Ryu go back and liquidate all the assets and bring forth new crew members.
Yeah, I was joking earlier today. Ryu's really, when he's not here, he's secretly winning over everyone on ship, and he's just going to abscond with the ship one day.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
So long, sucker!
How hard is it to remove the helm?
How hard is it to make a hole in the ship?
The magic chair that makes it fly. Can we take it with us?
Sure.
No.
And then it crashes.
Okay. Yes, if we're in dock, I'm sure we can find a way to remove the helm. Now, whether that helm will be able to be installed in another remains to be seen.
No, I
Depends on
just
how
mean
much you
take it
trust
with
your
us so
D20
they
roll.
can't steal the ship. Okay, so it sounds like everyone's wanting to abandon. Anyone still wanting to do this?
Good question.
Player character me, yes, wants to do this. Or player Mark wants to do this because he hates abandoning stuff.
Yeah.
Character-wise, Doran says nope, and Cleoc is a little bit. While he hates, abandoning someone in need and such, he's realizing that we may have bitten off more than we can chew.
Cookie is feeling like he may be worse off than helping whenever he joins the mission, so he doesn't think he can do it. And Group is, well,
He starts
after
places.
resting, he's just Group. But yeah, I think Mark talked with me, and Group really shouldn't have rushed in. That's not really state intelligence.
I would be okay if we continued to attempt to complete our mission, or if we return to base.
Okay. What about you, Squeaks?
Both warrants some value. I haven't been injured, so I'm not opposed to continuing. I got my resources back, but I understand you guys did get beat up quite a bit, so I understand they're pretty tough. If we're going to continue, we probably should go about it a little bit differently than we have been.
Yeah. I'd like to remind you all that there was 2 rescue missions we wanted to do, and so we can go back to the city and tell Aethid that we failed, and at least tell him what intel we found.
It is an option.
I need 2 people to roll a dice. Just tell me high-low, one right after the other.
Okay, I'm rolling dice number 1.
I got them too.
Okay, Sarah, then I'll let you.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Both
That's
were
2
high?
highs. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Just verify. Well, isn't that interesting?
Oh?
All right. So, what would you like to do?
Okay. So you guys feel that you want to go back and notify Aethid that we can't complete it?
Cleoc absolutely wants to do that. Doran doesn't care.
Okay.
Celadon and Erolith both don't think it can be completed now, but they don't like the idea of completely abandoning it. You think it's something you could try again later? I mean, if they are keeping her as a maid, they might keep her forever, you know?
Well, I somehow doubt we'll have a chance to be that much stronger to try it again later.
True.
If this were an explorer mission, I'd say it would be possible that we would be able to return. Since this is a
Rescue, yeah.
yeah,
Well, at least we've got information to take back, you know?
We do.
Yeah, that's good. So we heading back then?
Yeah. We'll head back. We'll go dock where we docked before, and we will go back to the merchant, the Arrow of Fire Inn, and try to find Ithid.
All right, give me just a minute here. I'm quickly typing some details in so I don't forget. All right. So you guys are heading back, or are you heading to the other adventure point that you suggest possibly going?
We're heading back first
Okay.
because I want to report.
All right. So you guys get back, and you go around, and you're able to find. No, I forgot his name.
Ithid?
Yes. And he is there. That place you'd seen him before. What do you wish to do?
I suppose we would have Cookie. I'm guessing Yonovan.
Cleoc would be there.
Okay.
Squeaks and Ursel only would be if you asked him to come along.
Yeah, they don't need to be.
We don't have to take everybody. This is a pretty grim.
Yeah. So I go look up, go find Aethid.
You're back.
Kind of dejected.
Were you able to find her?
No. We barely got past the front door. We beat back 4 or 5 waves of them, and something like a giant that they hired to fight us. But there's no assaulting that stronghold with our strength. I'm very sorry.
But what am I supposed to do?
Out of character, I now feel bad.
Well, we're very sorry.
My apologies, sir. Multiple members of our rescue team were seriously injured in our attempts, and we just lack the manpower to force our way through.
He just slumps on the table and just seems distraught.
We will provide whatever the information that we have on the location and the numbers that we saw, but we don't have the. We feel like we don't have the manpower to successfully complete them, to successfully rescue. We weren't even able to confirm we were in the correct location. We came across the ambush location and tried to follow the trail, and we came across a stronghold with dozens, if not perhaps hundreds of orcs, and we just didn't have enough.
Yeah, they had a wooden palisade there that we got past, and some kind of hole in the mountain. So we think, we don't know how much fortress they have under that mountain there. We didn't want to use any sort of large weaponry for fear of harming the lady. You can't burn it down for the same reason. An infiltration mission might work, but we don't have anyone really skilled at that.
Yeah, he's just kind of quiet and seems dejected.
Come on, guys. We're sorry.
As you leave, you see a group of, they look like roguish sort of individuals, but they all seem to be wearing a holy symbol on them as well. Come walking towards you guys, and they seem to be bringing a female individual along with them. And they walk up to him as you're exiting.
We hang around long enough to find out what's going on.
Okay. You hear one of them say, "We of the Visions of Loyalty have successfully returned with Lady Arden for you." And he's just like, thank you, and hands them the documentation to get their reward and takes her off to get cleaned up and rested.
What was that group's name called?
Visions of Loyalty.
The Embarrasser.
The embarrassers.
Wow. There's no better way of doing it but showing up at the same time.
Well, their nickname is, the Seekers Suck, but we won't get into that for right now.
We have a nemesis now.
Wow.
You should kill them.
Cleoc
I don't think they could.
actually feels a bit better.
Well, yeah, we all feel better. They actually rescued the person that we couldn't.
Don't worry, that was the roll to determine whether someone else successfully completed the mission or not.
That's fine.
Now, what's
I know how
interesting
random this is, but it's great.
Now, to be honest, this is out of care. We can go about it, after the session. But I got something to say about that later on.
All right, so
Okay.
you have, 3 other missions that you had heard about, and then additional one that you'd heard back from Khatun.
Okay. So our second mission that we had planned to do a couple months ago was I'll paste it down here. Dilfrey seeks a company of adventurers to discover the fate of his daughter, lost in the Gombe March. This place was, I guess, between a couple jungles. Um,
Yeah,
Sure, I'm
some
still okay
swampland.
with doing it.
so I guess this daughter was doing research, I remember, and should have reported in and hasn't. So, we need to find out where the Gombe March is. Or do we have a bearing to that?
You did receive some directions on how to get there.
Okay. Then, so I guess I'm just spitballing here, guys. We kind of need to have some kind of. We either need to be taking our ship everywhere, or we need some smaller craft that can shuttle us around.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Probably take our
Uh,
ship everywhere, right?
well, we can sort of, but I mean, our ship really is 250 feet long. It's big. It's like if you took a Viking longboat and just made it 25 feet across.
Floated up the rivers and attacked major capitals when people weren't expecting.
Right. I mentioned that because I know it was particularly longer and narrow than normal. Okay, so
So my initial thought, however many sessions ago it was, is that we were sending out the quote unquote B team to rescue the lady because we thought it was an orc camp instead of an orc stronghold. And my headcanon was that our ship was making preparations to make this journey, which we interrupted said preparations to come rescue the B team. That was kind of my headcanon for what was going on. I don't know if we want how much we.
okay. That'd be okay.
I don't know if we want to consider ourselves kind of prepared still. We did all we needed to do. We did our research that we wanted to in the time it took for the B team to travel out there.
Yeah, because you guys had a day and a half before they called, which were actually no, it was
Right.
like 2 days. And so, yeah, you could have had preparations ready. There's not a whole lot you need to do except kind of do some investigation about location.
Okay. Um,
So what are we waiting for?
all
I'm
Well,
ready
right.
to go.
I know before we went anywhere else, Aerolith was hoping to change weapons.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
we were going to get Aerolith at least some shields.
Yeah. Yeah, right now she uses a long sword, and she was thinking of switching to a pair of short swords and a shield.
Okay.
You can use a
Well,
longsword and shield too. You can't use your longsword two-handed with a shield, but you can always, not always have your shield carried.
D&D longswords should technically be called like arming swords, because they're technically one-handed swords. They can
yeah.
be used with two-handed.
And Cleok uses his longsword two-handed. That's how he's getting D10s out of his longsword instead of D8.
Which is why it's called a versatile weapon.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. So a longsword with one-handed is a D8 and two hands is a D10. Is that the only difference?
Yep.
Yep. And you
Oh.
can't use a shield using your longsword two-handed. So
Correct.
in that case,
Okay.
in your case, you would be choosing either 2 AC or an extra or a D10 instead of a D8.
Okay. Well, I think a D8's fine, but I definitely need more armor class because I just got hit way too often.
Okay.
So where does one go to get a shield around here?
The armory.
To the armory.
We may even have bought some shields when Cookie filled out the ship's armory. If I remember right,
The
shields
armory,
are pretty cheap.
the armory basically has shields and light crossbows, and a whole bunch of bolts for them. It doesn't have a whole lot more than that, but it does have those. So yes, shields are available. I've got about 40 of them on hand.
Oh. Well, that was easy.
But short swords I do not have on hand
I'll go
because
ahead and keep my longsword for now. I just need the shield.
okay. Saradin,
Yeah.
after a long rest, Cookie wants you to come up and he's going to attempt to break the curse.
Okay.
You gonna make him drop his sword?
I'm going to make it so that he doesn't have to go berserk unless he wants to.
How so? You'd have to reconnect
You
to the
can
weapon. Wouldn't that be the case?
I can remove the of vengeance property from that sword.
Interesting. How do you do that?
If you read the sword itself,
Okay.
it says a remove curse can remove that portion of it, and it functions as a +1 weapon afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, no, I missed that part. No, I trust you, and that's why I was asking. I figured there was a reason.
And Cookie didn't do it when he first got it because he wasn't high enough level to cast remove curse.
I see.
They've been sitting unused since before level 5. Okay. So that will be oh yeah. 4,
So
3.
so it's interesting, Cookie, because
Yeah.
here's what I'm reading. You can break the curse in the usual ways, which I guess would mean be able to let it go. Alternatively, you can cast banishment on the sword, which forces the
What?
vengeful spirit to leave it. The sword then becomes a +1 weapon with no other properties.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So in that case, I don't know if you can't. You could probably do remove curse to allow him to willingly drop the weapon if he wants, but you probably have to cast banishment to make it just a +1 weapon.
Indeed. Now, banishment is it's fundamentally, well, just talk with me about what kind of a thing it is. It's a traveling kind of spell, right? It's dimensional in nature. So I would argue it's an evocation. Is that how 5e classifies banishment?
I'm looking up banishment right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up as well.
Banishment is a 4th level abjuration spell.
Abjuration. Transformations are the closest to abjurations normally. Interesting.
Casting time of 1 action. Duration is concentration up to 1 minute. You attempt to send one creature that you can see within range to another plane of existence. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished. If the target is negative to the plane of existence you're on, you banish the target to a harmless demi-plane. While there, the target is incapacitated. The target remains there until the spell ends, at which point the target reappears in the space it left or the nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied.
Okay. So that would be, for me, a 6th level spell to cast. Because I would still argue that's a transmutation, or that's a evocation spell in my mind. What do you guys think? Is it really changing something, or?
Makes sense to me. What was wrong with the other thing you were guys talking about? Not the banishment, the other one?
Break curse.
So we move. So the Sword of Vengeance is cursed. You know this.
Yeah.
So the wording in the Sword of Vengeance is a base magic item in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So cursed. The sword is cursed and possessed by a vengeful spirit. Becoming attuned to it extends the curse to you. You've been attuned to it, so now you're cursed with it. As long as you remained cursed, you are unwilling to part with the sword, keeping it on your person at all times. While attuned to this weapon, you have disadvantage on attack rolls made with weapons other than this one. In addition, while the sword is on your person, you must succeed on a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. Whenever you take damage in combat, on a failed save, you must attack the creature to damage you until your it drops to your hit. We already know all.
Oh, I didn't realize I couldn't let it go. Oh, yeah, that doesn't make it difficult, doesn't it?
So
Yes.
I should have. So the last time you got knocked out in battle, I should have taken the sword. Stuffed it in the bag of holding.
I have no idea what would go into all of that, but you can break the curse in the usual ways. So breaking the curse would immediately allow you to basically let it go without any
Unattuned to it.
Yeah, basically you'd unattune to it, but it would still be cursed after you, in the sense that
Yeah.
if someone else would attune to it, then they would become cursed the same way.
And to get the
you
plus
currently
one,
are.
you have to attune.
But if you cast banishment on it, it goes from being a sword of vengeance to just a standard +1 weapon.
Correct.
Well, it might be better just to keep it until you can, safely do the other thing.
Oh, I can't ever safely do the other thing.
Relatively safely.
Now, other things we could do.
Can we have the chances of killing me below 50%?
Other things we could do is we could go search out like a priest or something, have them cast a spell, although that would cost
That's
money,
expensive.
of course.
Yeah.
The other thing is we could break the curse and just give you just a long sword, and then you just won't have a +1 weapon, because you can still carry the sword with you as long as you're not attuned to it, and you won't go berserk or anything. And to be fair, Saradin right now isn't doing much more than attacking with his big old sword anyway. But it could get really inconvenient if you're, we really need to take out that priority target, but you're really, really mad at this other guy who hit you with the...
Well, see, no. I was going to make a joke, but it doesn't make sense, so fine.
It makes for some fine role-playing opportunities, but part of our fine role-playing opportunities right now is like, we got a problem with this sword. We need to get you away from it. Which we haven't even attempted to roleplay any sort of. Saradin, can I let me look at that sword for a second? In which you should tell me in no uncertain terms to Heck no. You stay away.
Yeah,
It's mine. My own. My
I take the sword and I hold it. I take the sword and I hold the blade an inch from your eyes. That close enough a look?
And basically, any forceful attempt to remove it from your person, you may be in character to just straight up attack because you're trying to take away your sword. Remove curse, you probably wouldn't do that, but
we could always just have the entire party attack me. Try to knock me out.
The spellcasting services to get it done would be at least 400 gold. Like, minimum. If you
we
can
can
find
wait for
someone
Cookie
to do it.
This is actually, I'm sorry that I'm quiet, but I realized that looking at my class, there's kind of a problem I have.
You don't know whether banishment fits within your school or not.
Oh, I know it doesn't. But I actually can cast it. It's just a disadvantaged casting. So that's okay. It means it's a high level spell. It's a 6th level spell for me to cast it. And it boils down to this. Since I don't know the word banish, in order to use the word banish, I have to roll an Arcana check, which for me is a 14. So today, the first thing I would do is attempt to learn the word banish. So it would take some time. Basically, you could probably only do something like that on downtime. You can't really do it on the battlefield. But Cookie would be working to learn banish, and he has learned banish. So sometime in the near future, Cookie will attempt to cast it.
How near future?
Well, what is the mechanic for learning a word or a spell? After a day of study and practice. So after a day of study and practice, which will succeed, and when it's convenient, Cookie will try casting it.
Well, I guess that's something for you to work on then.
Yeah, so let's go on. You can stick with the sword for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So let's go on and do go to our mission.
How hard is it to get me unattuned?
You're cursed, so we'd have to cast at the very least remove curse.
Or can you do that?
Or some.
I can, yes. I do know remove curse.
Wouldn't I just get reattuned if I kept using it eventually?
Yes. If in order for you to use it, you have to be attuned. Okay?
Period.
Yeah.
To use it just to get the bonus, right?
Okay, so here's my understanding of attunement. Attunement is you basically focus your energies on a weapon or item that requires attunement to gain like it becomes a part of yourself. If we were to use remove curse, you would lose the attunement, which in that case it would just be, if you used it without attuning to it, it would be just a standard great sword with no plus or minuses.
Yeah, but it might accidentally attune to you. Hard to say, but I think he's right.
Cool.
I mean, you could always run into town and buy another two-hander, which probably wouldn't be difficult if you're just looking for a mundane weapon.
Depends on if the Iron Crisis is going on. I mean, oh wait, wrong game.
I'll keep it for now. I say we just hold off on this till some other time.
No, Cookie definitely casts remove curse on it. And we're fine.
So you
That was
cast
not
Remove
bad.
Curse, so that means Ceridan finally realizes he's been cursed by this blade, making him want to use it and hold it and treat it special. Even though he really doesn't have the want to, it's kind of forced its will on him.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I did tell you the sword was cursed, but I didn't mean it to cause you any harm, and I thought the +1 would be helpful. Maybe you just, want to get something else. If you do want a two-hander, I've got a glaive and a pike on hand that are just +1s.
One moment.
That'd probably be prudent.
Glaives.
Does anyone have a gun on them?
Yeah, we can make you one.
Mm-hmm.
Yonovan has a gun
Donovan
on
has
him.
a gun on him. At least one.
Can I borrow your gun for a second?
Roll a persuasion check.
I thought you were against guns, to be honest.
Guess I should roll an insight check, because I thought he was against guns.
Yes, you should.
Alright.
That would be a good time to do it.
Yep, I'm rolling an insight check. Let's see here. You get this red one because I'm distrusting. 15 on the die. Let me see what my mod is. Boom, boom. +2. 17 on insight.
Ceridan, are you going to speak what your intentions are, or do you want to roll to...
I want to see if I can shoot this gun into pieces, the sword into pieces.
You can try out of character. You will not succeed. But
Someone is angry at having his mind messed with. Angry enough that it lets him burst through his hang-up about guns.
Interesting. So,
okay.
Donovan, would you offer to let Ceridan try to use your gun to try to destroy this sword that he's now angry with?
Put the purple powder in it and hand it to him.
You load it. All right. The purple or the blue?
Purple, the one with extra oomph.
I thought that was the blue one was the only extra oomph. The normal was purple.
I thought it was the other way around. Anyhow.
So the extra oomph one is what matters. Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk about it after and clarify. Okay. Ceridan, roll an attack against your gun. With your gun against your sword, former sword.
I stab it into the ground and back up so I can aim.
So since you're probably proficient in this weapon.
Yes.
I am.
What's your dex?
+1.
So
okay.
roll a d20, add 1.
Well, no, it's also a +1 thunder cannon.
Yep.
Add 2.
And then he's also proficient, so if it's a +1 weapon, +1 for dex, +3 for proficiency.
Correct.
So that's a 17 to hit. If that was the dice he rolled right there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 17. Yeah, that hits.
That's 5d6 +1 of damage. I mean...
Yonovan?
Yeah.
Roll your damage and go ahead and roll a d20 with, what's a good modifier? Arcana check.
Okay, I will roll... Gosh, a bunch of different colored dice so I can keep track of. Alright, these two d6 are for force. That's 8 force. That's 5 of piercing and 2 of cold. And now I'm going to roll a d20 for Arcana.
Yep.
11 on the die. Efficient. 5. 16 Arcana.
Okay. Ceridan, you fire this gun off, and it has an oomph stronger than any gun you've fired before. At the same time, it doesn't have the same normal fiery explosion and resounding noise that you're used to. It's a different noise. It's more of a, like, thud than a bang. And the bolt flies forth and strikes your sword true. And you see a crack in it. Which Yonovan, being familiar with magic weapons, knows that that tends to not be likely to happen. Seeing as Yonovan is a individual particularly, interested in creating items of such, he would be the one who would know this right off the bat.
At this point, if my player characters were not present in the room, I would be. Both of my player characters would be running in with their weapons drawn, or at least Cleoc could be running in with his weapons drawn. Doran's going like, "What the hell's going on?"
Cookie is fascinated. You actually cracked it. What?
I'm very fascinated myself.
What's going on? Is everyone okay?
If you wanted to shoot the
Cleoc.
cursed sword.
You see the sword that Ceridan's been wielding stuck in the ground with a crack in it.
And Ceridan's holding Onovan's gun still.
Yes.
Yep.
With a
Yep,
little
but
bit
I've got all
of...
the extra.
Yeah.
Yonovan, would you mind repairing the hull?
What?
I had a feeling you guys would probably do it outside in a safe area, not on the ship,
Yeah.
since you're,
What is
back in town.
what is going on?
So you do know that this sword's cursed, right?
Yes.
So I broke the curse, and it turns out was really mad about being tricked by the sword. And
So he grabbed. I can only assume he forcefully grabbed the most destructive thing he could find, which would be Jonathan's gun, and used it.
Requested. I was curious what if it could damage the sword, and at the same time hoping he wouldn't shoot the person who gave him the sword.
And so, the story of damaging a magic item.
I'm still intrigued that there's a crack in the sword.
You naughty.
I'm wondering if a reloaded gun could destroy it.
and it might be possible to destroy it other means.
Ceridan, how do you feel about guns now that you've reintroduced yourself to them? How does
I
Ceridan
think
feel?
we need to get me a gun now.
But I thought you hated guns, Ceridan. I mean, I guess mad, but are you okay?
This has reminded me that every weapon can be used wrong. It's up to us to use them right.
Cookie looks at his wand of wonder and starts to consider it. Oh.
You wanna put that over next to the sword?
Quickly pockets it. Right.
Do you need to cast Remove Curse on Cookie as well?
I don't know. Man, that wand's hurt us as a bunch. Oh.
I cast Fireball once, which did a net positive.
After that.
Oh man.
I still wish I could find the other one. But... So.
Ceridan, is there a pike or glaive that you're interested in, or do you want to have some other kind of weapons?
because we're not ruling out a gun in your future. However, that one's mine.
It will
Of
take a
course,
while
I
to
give it
build or
back.
buy one again.
I give it back, of course. But yeah, I definitely want a gun in the future, but I do need some melee weapon as well.
Well, Cookie did offer you a glaive or a, what was it?
Pike.
Glaive or a pike. And you said they're both +1?
So fuck.
They're both basically a 1d10 reach weapon. Plus
So-
1.
So functionally, the glaive weighs 6 pounds, is heavy reach, and requires 2 hands. Reach means you can reach out and hit anything within 2 squares of you instead of 1.
Okay.
Basically, you'd be just like all of those ogre, hitting us from 2 squares out. Not
Is it
ogres,
the
but
glaive or the pike?
both of them.
Both.
Oh, both of them?
It's just whether you
Functionally,
want slashing or piercing damage. They're basically the same
Oh.
weapon, just different damage type.
That being said, I don't know. You're strong enough, it likely doesn't matter, but the pike is a full 12 pounds heavier than the glaive.
Pike is a beatdown. Wow.
The pike is 18 pounds, the glaive is 6 pounds. Standard from the book.
Let's go with the glaive.
It's a good choice.
Okay. So
All right,
Sheridan
write it
now
down.
wields the glaive.
I'm
I'm
writing
deleting
it
it.
down, and I'm taking off my little +1.
No, you get the +1. It's a +1 glaive.
The glaive is a +1 glaive.
Oh, good.
It's a
Good,
D10
good.
+1.
And as a fighter, you're proficient in it because fighters
Yeah.
are proficient in like everything.
That's part of why I was saying it makes sense for him to do it, because he's a fighter. You use weapons.
Now, after you've attuned, roll for curse.
I don't think he actually
Buddy.
needs to attune to this.
No.
Perfect.
It's a standard +1 weapon, so there's no attunement with it. Unless it actually is a cursed weapon, we just don't know.
It'd be
We're
funny
just
if
told
all
it
of
was
our
originally a
+1
+1
cursed.
weapon.
It
We're
would
not
be.
in first edition.
True. If we were in a more low magical setting, I might be more inclined to do that sort of a thing. Speaking of,
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure that the ancient bronze or copper dragon has many magical items down there.
he has some,
Oh, wait, wrong game.
but I don't
Carry on
have
with this
any
one.
standard there. So, it's 8:35. Do you guys want
Yeah.
to quickly press on for a little bit, or you want to call it?
I want to call it.
This seems like a fair enough stopping point.
Well, it just
I like
depends.
to end
It
on
depends
humor.
if you
That's
want.
pretty fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it depends if you want to end on a high note or a low note. So,
Yeah.
Oh, there's a low note with this.
Oh yeah. There's always a
Potentially.
low note.
The sword explodes, dealing 10d6 damage to everyone within 60 feet.
no, not.
Hopefully not.
No. It's more.
The vengeful spirit has been released and is mad that you damaged the sword. Roll for
There
initiative.
you go. There you go. It's 10d10 damage, half
Oh,
piercing, half force damage to everyone within 100 feet. And then you have to worry about the vengeful spirit is now released and wants vengeance for you messing up its home.
I was going to ask, what is the proper means of disposing of this thing?
not really shooting it with a gun.
You
The proper
can't.
means we've already discussed, it's banishment.
Ben, okay then, I guess.
But we've already shot it, put a crack in it, and that could have repercussions. Now, whether
You-
I
what
don't
You
Nate
know
might
what
have
you
said is
mean.
destroyed it. You
Now,
might have
whether that's
destroyed
what
it. It might
Now-
be something that Yonovan can recraft into something else. I don't know.
or it could be what Nate just said, and we all take 10d10 damage and the spirit is out.
You never know.
But that could be next week.
I think this was a good session.
I mean, I think I'll be doing another Arcana check to try and grasp, or an intelligence or something, history check perhaps, to try and grasp the meaning of crack. Because I have the knowledge that it normally doesn't crack, but the knowledge of what could that mean is not included.
True.
So,
Because then it would have to have been a common thing.
right? Ah,
By definition of it not being a common thing would mean...
yeah, I'm very interested
right,
and
yeah.
concerned.
So Eolith got a shield. Celadon got over his phobia. And we have rivals now, so I think a pretty successful evening.
Yeah.
Alright. Sounds good, gents. We'll see you guys next week. Sorry we didn't have too much happen this week, but you know what happens.
It was still fun.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing, is as long as we had fun each week, that's what really matters.
Yeah.
So.
Next week, coconuts.
If only you're heading to swamp, not the tropics.
Ah!
Well, it's in between two jungles, but I think-
Jungles, yeah. So. Alright, we'll see you guys next
Be
week.
investigating every tree.